Hello everybody and welcome to another ECS Season 7 team interview where today I am joined by ShahZaM from Complexity. So first off, massive congratulations to yourself and the team for qualifying for the ECS Season 7 finals in London. What does it mean to the team to be heading to London?
Yeah, thank you. We're excited because it's been a little bit since we've been to another big tournament, and actually our last one was the previous major in Poland, and before that it must have been the basic major in London. So
Yeah.
It has been a bit of time, and we're excited to finally play at a playoffs because we missed ESL Pro League finals, and now it's our chance to play against these top teams.
Well, yeah, I'm sure it's going to be amazing to see you guys playing that. I just wanted to pick up on the fact that you said the last time you would have played on the stage in London was at the Face It Major. What has changed for you guys since then? How have you grown?
Oh man, I'd say we're a completely different team since that tournament run in London. Although that was like a pretty good run for us, and it was like an exciting tournament. We're very, very different going into this, not only in terms of roster, but the way we approach the game and our playstyle. So it's going to be an exciting time.
Well, I just want to talk about your road in the ECS online season. You guys faced United in your first matchup in week 1, which was a relatively close game, but you guys managed to pull it out of the bag on that final map. What was the approach kind of going into that?
Yeah, so when we were playing these qualifiers in week 1 and 2, we were actually playing with the stand-in because the future of the roster was a little bit up in the air, considering Jordan's future. So we were playing with Jordan, we didn't know if he was staying, so that results in our practice not really being super productive, and we were kind of just rolling with the flow, doing what we normally do, and it resulted in us not playing to our full potential, but we still made it through.
Just picking up on Nothing there, obviously you said he was playing as a stand-in. What did he kind of bring to the team? Because he's a very experienced player given his history in the North American scene. What did he kind of bring to the team?
Yeah, outside of Jordan obviously being a very, very uplifting guy and making the atmosphere really fun to be around him, he's obviously got a ton of experience, and it helps in decision making and how we want to approach certain situations. He was super vocal about these things, and then he was still a pretty skilled player, so I thought it was a pretty valuable experience for us to have him around and play with him, even if it was just for a short period of time.
Yeah, definitely. Did it feel like it kind of changed any roles within the team? Did you kind of learn anything new from him?
Yeah, I think that Jordan's a bit more of a passive lurker player in his recent times. So when we did have him standing in, we had a lot of passive players on the map, which was not really helpful for us in certain situations. But we definitely map specific wise, we definitely improved our terrain thanks to Jordan's input.
Well, just going back to week 1 of ECS Season 7, you guys got that win against E United, then you went on to take down NRG, then you came up to face Rogue, which again was a very close series, but the last map, Inferno, they managed to take you to overtime and they managed to seal it. What were some of the difficulties you kind of faced in that moment? Because you guys were up in terms of rounds before that overtime.
Yeah, we totally threw away that match one because we had multiple match points. We had a very significant lead, and I vividly remember there was a specific round. It was 14-10 or 15-11 or something like that, where it was 3 versus 3. We had the bomb site. They had pistols, and for some reason we threw away that round that would have won the match. And Rogue brought it back, and all fair play to them. They were the ones that grinded it back while we didn't close it out. So as much as we felt that we threw away that match and it was just in our grasp, it's still pretty cool to be able to qualify.
Yeah, well, definitely. I want to pick up on that because Rogue, obviously they disbanded, so it meant that they forfeited their position ECS Season 7 for any of the viewers that don't know. What was that like to come back from such a close loss to actually know that you're heading to London anyway?
Yeah, if we lost in a terrible in terrible fashion, they just dominated us and then we ended up getting the spot, maybe there's some of us that felt that we didn't quite deserve it. But considering how close the game was and how much of a lead we had, I'm not going to think too much about it. I'm just going to focus on the tournament and just be happy that we got a spot. and also be happy that we got Sick on our team now from Rogue.
Yes.
So it's good stuff.
Yeah, that's a good talking point, actually. He added him in late March of this year. What was the decision process to get him on board, and how was he kind of integrated into the team?
Yeah, so with Sick, we eventually found out, like, last minute that, you know, like, Jordan would be staying with the team long term. We had to figure out, you know, who we're going to get. And it was good timing with Rogue disbanding because Sick is obviously, like, a really talented and still really young player. But he has a lot of experience, which is kind of rare for, like, you know, a young player. But
Yeah.
I played on a team with him for a year on Misfits. We lived in a gaming house together, so I really vouched for him because I just felt like I knew him well. I thought he was a really good teammate and obviously a skilled player, and so it was like a no-brainer for us.
So, as you said, you were with him on Misfits. How has he kind of grown and changed since those days? Do you notice him playing any differently or having any different strategies?
Yeah, there's definitely been a big change, like from the time we played with Sean Garris together to the time that he had with with MSL on Rogue. It seems like MSL had a really big influence on him as like an IGL and his like structured, detailed calling style. And so we've been able to take away a lot of the things that he was doing with MSL and also implement it into our gameplay that he found that he liked, and we also thought was pretty good.
Just speaking about, obviously, you guys were in week 1, you lost that to Rogue, but you still played in week 2 of ECS Online season, where your run was kind of cut short a little bit by Furia in the semi-finals. What went wrong there? Because was it to do with them? Was it to do with you? Because Furia have looked on top form, really, this season.
Yeah, so our matchups with Furia have been very difficult. I think they've beaten us every single time we've faced them, whether it's online or LAN.
Oh, wow.
On our team has a history. Yeah, so also during that time period was like when things were still kind of up in the air.
Yes.
I think Sick was announced, so while we were playing like that best of 3 or something, like it was like an odd time period, you know, like we weren't necessarily practicing well.
Yeah.
And then it was Furia, and, you know, our prep wasn't good for Furia. Like our prep wasn't good for these qualifiers in general.
Yeah.
But also the team just matches up so well against us. But we're hoping now with like the significant changes we're making in our gameplay style and stuff that it's going to be better.
Well, definitely, because you're going to get the chance to meet them hopefully in London, because they've also qualified back in week 3. Are you particularly looking forward to facing them, or are there any other teams that you're particularly looking forward to matching up against?
Yeah, I mean, our first matchup is Vitality, and they look really good. They just won Beyond the Summit in like a pretty significant fashion.
Yeah.
Like they beat Ents, they beat Liquid. They look really good. So it's not going to be an easy match, but I'm still kind of excited to play them. You know, we're putting a ton of work and effort into prepping for ECS because we made all these changes in the way we're playing. So I'm just excited to face any opponent that we might have previously faced too, like Furia, because they're a really good team right now, and I want to just see where we are at compared to them.
Well, definitely. I mean, just picking up on Vitality, they've been such an up-and-coming team recently. Almost seems like nobody's really able to count with them, as you said, in Beyond the Summit, because they took down some really top-tier teams there. Is there anything you're particularly preparing coming up against them?
I think it's not that we're changing any preps for them compared to any other team. We're gonna prep for every team the same way, but because they won Beyond the Summit so recently, and then they're gonna be playing at DreamHack Dallas, I feel like all eyes are gonna be on them.
Yeah.
So it's not just us that's taking note on Vitality and the stuff they're doing, because I did notice that they're playing a little bit different on like Overpass compared to like how most teams play it.
Yeah.
And so I think every team is going to be taking notes on the stuff they're doing and going to be aware about it by the time ECS comes. So we'll see how they adapt.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, they've looked like such an unstoppable force. I can't wait to see that first matchup in the quarterfinals. But just talking about maps a little bit more, obviously, we've seen Vertigo coming in to replace Cash. Bit of a controversial topic, but how are you feeling about this switch? And is Vertigo something that you're going to be kind of focusing on as a team?
Yeah, so when Vertigo first came out, we kind of just wrote it off and decided to like veto it for the tournaments until we decided to go over it in the future, which I think was a mistake. but recently we've began to go over it. We've all watched demos and matches on it. We've come up with strats, and we've started scrimming it. And although it plays very differently from like a lot of CS maps that you're used to, I think the team's been having a lot of fun playing it, and it's gonna be a strong map for us.
Wow.
So that's gonna be really useful going into like matchups where a team that might be considered better than us might have to use their veto on that map.
Yeah.
Rather than their like weak map or whatever. So I think it's gonna be a really useful tool for us going into ECS.
Well, I'm really excited to see that because a lot of the teams I've spoken to not feeling so confident on it. Not gonna necessarily ban it, but I'm definitely excited to see what kind of dynamic that can bring. So coming into oh, sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was just saying I think we're gonna be pretty innovative on it, so
Ooh.
It's exciting.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it'd be really, really fun to watch, especially on LAN. So coming into the SSC Arena, Wembley in London, how are you feeling about your group, Group B, which consists of yourself, MIBR, North, and Vitality?
It's definitely going to be a tough group. Vitality's looking hot in recent form. North is also looking pretty good. I believe with Balde calling. And then MIBR... Yeah. Seems like they're really focused on improving as a team since they got this full Brazilian roster back. We've had the chance to play MIBR and some pracs, and they've gone pretty well, I think, in my opinion, for us. So that's good for like just the confidence level going into that matchup. But otherwise, I think it's going to come down to our preparation as a team, and that's going to be our big focus for this tournament, is taking just every matchup as seriously as we can.
Well, definitely, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you guys competing on LAN, and you can join them too at the SSC Arena, Wembley in London from June 8th tonight, and you can buy your tickets at ecs.faceit.com. Tickets are still available now, so if you want to see the lovely ShahZaM competing on stage with Complexity, head over there right now and grab your tickets whilst they're still around. But I think all that's left to say is thank you very much, ShahZaM, for joining me, and good luck for the tournament.
Thank you for having me, and thanks again.